Plastic surgery seems to be an unavoidable topic in the K-pop industry, and while some, if not most, procedures slide under the radar, others have been a lot more shocking and naturally land in public discussions. It's no secret that it's almost an impossible task to make it in the K-pop industry, which is why many have gone very far in order to achieve their dreams, even if others might disagree with those methods. Many artists struggle with insecurities rooted deeply in the unrealistic beauty standards of the industry. Jia's Huang Kwang-hee stands out as one of the few idols who openly confronted these challenges, not by hiding or denying his insecurities, but by addressing them head-on through plastic surgery and proudly owning the results. From the beginning of his career, Kwang-hee openly admitted that he never quite felt like he fit in aesthetically with his peers. In countless interviews, he described feeling inferior to the other ZEHA members in terms of looks. Despite putting in tremendous effort to enhance his appearance naturally through styling, makeup, and skincare, it seemed like there was nothing he could do to be on the same level as his group mates. And in this industry, visual appeal often dictates an idol's marketability, which is why these feelings weighed so heavily on him. On an episode of the variety show You Quiz on the Block, Kwang-hee reflected on his early career frustrations and how, despite training for 5 long years to debut as an idol, he was given only 3 seconds of singing time in ZEHA's debut track. He confessed just how bad that made him feel, saying, "I thought I would get a bigger part in the next album, but it was about the same. It didn't feel good." These early disappointments made him question his own appeal, driving home the harsh reality that talent alone often isn't enough in an industry that, more often than not, prioritizes visuals. Due to societal pressure, Kwang-hee was ultimately pushed to make a bold decision and unapologetically altered what he disliked most about his appearance through plastic surgery. His honesty and transparency about undergoing plastic surgery set him apart from most idols, who typically shy away from ever revealing such truths, fearing the backlash. However, for Kwang-hee, it was an act of empowerment rather than shame, as he recognized the painful truth that people would question and critique his appearance either way. Instead of enduring the torment in silence, he chose to embrace the change and reclaim his confidence. He explained that there was little point in pretending it hadn't happened either, as such information would inevitably come to light, saying, "It's not good for an idol's image to talk about plastic surgery. It felt iffy to hide it. I confessed to plastic surgery out of desperation." The difference was definitely noticeable, as one of the first and most significant changes Kwang-hee made was to his nose. As he openly shared, the shape and structure of his nose had always been a major source of insecurity. Undergoing rhinoplasty not only refined his nose, but seemed to transform his entire face. With a smaller, sharper nose, his facial structure appeared more balanced, giving him a much softer and more youthful appearance. The success of this initial surgery boosted his confidence immensely and led him to pursue further work in order to achieve his dream look. In a candid appearance on the show Cool Kids, Kwang-hee actually went into a detailed breakdown about which areas of his face had been surgically altered. In addition to his rhinoplasty, he revealed that he had silicone inserted into multiple parts of his face, his forehead, chin, and nose. The goal was to achieve a perfectly balanced and symmetrical face, which is usually highly prized in South Korean beauty standards. Interestingly, he also revealed that the only areas that remained untouched were his cheekbones through a game that had been played on the show, where he also proved how willing he was to find humor in the topic and how comfortable he was with his decision. Kwang-hee even shared that during his nose surgery, his doctor warned him about the dangers of going too far. The surgeon told him directly that if he got too greedy and tried to make his nose too high, he could face deadly consequences. The advice was reportedly very hard-hitting for Kwang-hee, who was also faced with a reminder of all the physical risks involved in plastic surgery, especially when patients become fixated on achieving extreme transformations. Thankfully, Kwang-hee held back and stuck to natural and seamless alterations, which have only served him well even all these years later. In addition to the facial surgeries, Kwang-hee also revealed that he had dental veneers done, something that actually seems to be pretty common in the industry today, especially since bright, flawless smiles are such a crucial part of the idol life. Kwang-hee's candid approach has also helped destigmatize plastic surgery for many netizens and idols, showing that confidence and happiness can come from being true to oneself, even if that means altering one's appearance. In fact, his openness eventually led him to become a spokesperson for a plastic surgery clinic, as someone who deeply understood the societal pressures that can push individuals towards such choices. While Kwang-hee still faces occasional jokes or criticism about his surgeries, his willingness to own his decisions has earned him respect from many fans. Instead of allowing public opinion to dictate how he felt about himself, he took control of his narrative, turning what could have been a source of shame into a source of strength. However, Kwang-hee's story stands out not only because of his openness, but also because of the surprising role his family played in his decision. It turns out that his parents were not only supporters of the idea, but they even contributed to him getting it done, especially his mother. Growing up, Kwang-hee often struggled with self-confidence. In a candid interview on KBS's Love on the Air, he opened up about feeling like the underachiever in his family, as they all seemed to be very academically successful except him. His father was a civil servant, and his cousins all attended top universities. Wanting to be just as good as his family, Kwang-hee ended up attending numerous after-school academies. However, his academic performance never seemed to measure up. Sensing her son's frustrations, Kwang-hee's mother made a pretty unconventional decision and decided to encourage her son to try out the arts instead. Realizing that traditional academics might not be the path for her son, she secretly enrolled him in a dance academy to help him pursue his passion for entertainment. However, as Kwang-hee trained to become an idol, another harsh reality emerged, as looks were just as important as talent in South Korea's entertainment industry. While his peers were called to meetings for commercials and endorsements, Kwang-hee was often overlooked. His mother, recognizing that his appearance could become a major obstacle, gave him direct advice by telling him that if he wanted to become an idol, he would need plastic surgery. Not only did she suggest the procedures, but she even paid for them in order to get her son everything he wanted. It's rare to hear of a parent so directly encouraging their child to undergo cosmetic surgery, but in Kwang-hee's case, his mother's support was not about forcing him to conform, but rather about helping him achieve his dream. Many fans and netizens have actually praised her bold act, noting that she was simply being realistic about the demands of the industry. As one netizen pointed out, it was all out of love. I'm actually pretty impressed by his mom. She supported him in school and then as a trainee. She wanted him to succeed and be happy. Kwang-hee's father has also openly expressed his pride in his son, despite his mom initially hiding the dance academy from him. Rather than disapproving of his son's dreams, he has publicly stated that he fully supports Kwang-hee's decisions, not just career-wise, but also looks-wise. For Kwang-hee, knowing that his family stood firmly behind him allowed him to face public criticism with a sense of strength and peace that many idols might lack. In many ways, his family's unconditional support helped him navigate the intense pressures of being in the spotlight with confidence. Still, not everyone has viewed his situation so positively. Some netizens expressed discomfort over the fact that even family members could contribute to the pressure surrounding beauty standards in South Korea, and one comment even read, "When the industry makes you do it, it's one thing, but even when your mom does it, it's definitely a huge societal problem." Other netizens, however, defended both Kwang-hee and his mother, arguing that the entertainment industry has always been heavily based on visuals, especially in Korea, where idols are expected to meet nearly impossible standards of perfection. A user wrote, "You shouldn't care about looks, but this is South Korea. You don't get to debut in a boy band if you don't look above average." And despite the drastic measures, Kwang-hee seems to have no regrets, as he never attempts to hide his decision and often even joins in on the discussion surrounding his procedures and pokes fun at himself. This level of transparency and humor has even gained him lots of fans who appreciate his honesty and self-awareness, as many admire how he took control of his own narrative, refusing to let rumors or judgment define him. Fans also respect how Kwang-hee has used his platform to help his group Jia. Early on, he took on the role of the sacrificial lamb by drawing attention to himself, sometimes by becoming the butt of plastic surgery jokes so that his fellow members could share the spotlight. And believe it or not, there are transformations out there even more shocking than his. Despite that it's not common for K-pop idols to admit to plastic surgery or the ways that they drastically transform their looks, some cases of drastic changes in looks can't be easily ignored or denied. Blackpink's Lisa is undoubtedly one of the most beautiful women, not only in the industry, but probably in the world too. Her looks have gotten attention even internationally, but since people always tend to have doubts about K-pop idols being naturally beautiful, there have been speculations that she achieved her looks through plastic surgery. These speculations aren't only because people are haters, but because Lisa went through a drastic transformation. If you look at her pictures from when she was a child, her nose looks flatter, wider, and rounder. Not like that's a bad thing, of course, she looks adorable either way. A surgeon also claimed that she must have also had lip fillers, since her lips seemed fuller than before. However, these allegations of plastic surgery should be taken with a grain of salt, as puberty, a dash of makeup, and a sprinkle of weight loss can really change how a person looks. Look at Lisa's smile and those bright big eyes. That's still the same person as before. NCT's Yuta also went through a noticeable transformation, but through no desire of his own. If you look at Yuta's pictures from when he was a child, or even in his early years in the industry, you can see that he looks a lot different. Namely, he has a naturally square chin. But ever since he came to Korea to become an idol, it seems like SM Entertainment was set on changing the way his face looks so it can better fit the Korean beauty standards. That
apparently meant giving him chin fillers until his face looked nothing like it used to. People even called this decision xenophobic, with a Reddit user writing that the company changed the natural features of a foreign idol so that they could fit the beauty standards of South Korea. They wrote, "Korean idols are subject to this too, but I don't see people viciously attack their appearances online the way they do Utah's." The chin fillers then got removed, which has made him look more natural, but it's a shame that they changed his pretty face so drastically. Not to say that he doesn't look amazing now, but being the subject of such hate because of a decision your company made must have shattered him. Poor Yuta. AOA's former member Jimin also had her fair share of plastic surgery rumors. Jimin got attention by netizens for her adorable visuals up until 2017, when her appearance seemed to have changed. In some pictures taken by a fan site, Jimin seemed drastically different to fans and non-fans alike. They said that her lips, cheeks, and jaw didn't look the same as before, with some even saying that they couldn't recognize her without seeing the before picture. A Redditor commented, "Honestly looks like a completely different person. Can't even tell it's her." Another said, "It's almost as if someone was walking around that looks a lot like Jimin and someone started taking pictures of them." While some people disagreed with her change in appearance, they were probably the cause she got work done in the first place. If you're an older K-pop fan, you might remember just how much Jimin used to be compared to Samuel L. Jackson, with the comparison even brought up on variety shows. She also lost a lot of weight throughout the years, so there was more concern about her well-being rather than the plastic surgery. She seems okay now, and that's all that matters. Tongha is also one of the idols that gets constantly praised for her visuals, and who can blame them? Have you seen her? However, some people are arguing that she doesn't look the same as she used to look when she was in Produce, and that she has changed her appearance a lot. Not to the point that she's unrecognizable, but looking at her now, you can't deny that she doesn't look the same. This discussion was raised back in May of 2022 when Tongha was promoting her hit song Stay Tonight. Her then agency had posted a behind-the-scenes video for the music video on her official Instagram account. While many praised her looks, netizens also said that ever since she got lip fillers, started wearing a lot of makeup, and lifted her chin, she started to look kinda scary. Mind you, this is being said about the Tongha. Then the talk shifted to Tongha's lips, with fans thinking her lower lip isn't that great and calling her face botched, saying that she looked better before. An online community user said, "I think you were really pretty while on Produce 101. Why does your face keep on changing? What are you doing?" She also kept getting compared to Pak Bom, and while that's one of the highest forms of a compliment, netizens meant it maliciously. Well, Tongha was recently seen at the Incheon International Airport, her first public sighting ever since she left her company, and she looks gorgeous with a capital G. Something we can't say for these haters. Speaking of Pak Bom, she has also come under scrutiny a few times due to her visible transformation, with people accusing her of overdoing the plastic surgery, fillers, and overusing filters on photos. Back in 2014, Pak Bom shared that she was taking medicine because she had lymphadenitis. She explained that this is why she looked different, including gaining weight. She was clear about one thing, and that was claiming that she didn't have surgery, but netizens noticed that her jaw and her lips looked a lot more different than before. The speculations that she had plastic surgery came up quite often throughout the years as her appearance kept changing. In 2020, Bom graced the 56 Grand Bell Awards with her presence. At the event, she rocked a gorgeous two-piece outfit while strolling down the red carpet. But all eyes were on her face as people agreed that it appeared a bit more swollen. People online debated that she looked strikingly different from the last time they saw her. The discussion about Bom's transformation was raised once again when on August 14th, she posted selfies on her Instagram account. She made two separate posts. The first one was a selfie with the simple caption saying, "Hello, this is Bom." The second was a selfie compilation caption, "Green and Pak Bom." In these pics, she's showing off a dark eyeliner and bold lip, but it had the rumor mill buzzing. Some suspect that she might be using heavy filters and maybe even a little bit of snow app magic. Some people online said that they had a tough time recognizing her initially, as they're not entirely certain whether it's the makeup or a possible filter that's making her appear so different. These people urge Bom not to use filters as she looks beautiful without them, but most were worried about her well-being. Let's just hope she's okay. Rise is SM Entertainment's upcoming boy group, which is supposed to debut in September, but they don't need to debut for netizens to notice that one of the members doesn't look as he did before. Yes, puberty exists and we've all gone through it, but netizens are convinced that they went through plastic surgery. At the end of July, a netizen dug into the past pictures of Rise members and argued that one being used to look very different compared to how he looks now. As you might have guessed, netizens are saying that SM probably made him get fillers on his chin, as it looks a lot sharper, and even made him get surgery on his eyelids. Comments from netizens included, "His eye surgery went very well. Please tell me which hospital he went to." And, "Wow, how can someone look so different? Can you tell me which hospital he went to too? However, people have argued that it's unfair to compare how he looks right now to how he looked pre-debut, as everyone looks different after going through puberty. Even though he doesn't look the same, you can see that he's the same person, just more grown up. Twice's Jonghyun got a lot of hate for her transformation, which included her gaining some weight. In 2020 and 2021, Jonghyun dealt with panic and anxiety disorders, leading her to take short breaks from group activities so that she could focus on her health. During this time, she underwent neck disc surgery and had to take steroids as part of her treatment. These steroids caused her to gain weight as a side effect, sparking discussions about her weight and her transformation. Constant discussions, might we add. Lots of people debated about whether it was okay to support her without mentioning that her job required image care as much as talent. Mind you, she was great at her job, which required her to sing and dance, not fit the standards of strangers on the internet. But even though fans defended her, others thought that celebrities, not just Jonghyun, need to really focus on their appearance since their success is linked to it. While the hate has dimmed down significantly, there's still the occasional article on online communities about how she should lose the weight. Thankfully, Jonghyun remains unbothered by these comments, as she should. Red Velvet's Wendy seems to come up a lot when the topic of drastic changes in appearances gets brought up. Whether people are mentioning her weight or plastic surgery rumors, everyone seems to agree that she looks different. One reason for this might be that she went through a horrible accident in December of 2019, as she had fallen during the SBS Gayo Daejeon show and received several serious injuries. This included a broken pelvis and wrist, a cracked cheekbone, and bruises all over her body. With all these injuries, it'd be more surprising if she didn't come out looking differently. Add to that the fact that she lost weight due to her difficulty in eating and drinking when she was injured, so it's totally natural for her not to look the same. She's still as gorgeous as she was before the accident and is very healthy. That's what's important.
But they're not hiding it anymore, as some idols are being brutally honest about what they've done. Plastic surgery rumors are constantly being brought up when it comes to the K-pop scene. However, it looks like not everything is being kept a secret, as some brave idols have actually stepped forward and admitted to having done some procedures to appease the tough beauty standards. While some idols might have some reservations concerning getting work done, it looks like P1 Harmony's Theo made that decision all on his own as he revealed the information during a fan video call event. Not only did he give up the information willingly, but he even let the conversation stay on topic as he answered some of the fans' questions regarding his procedure. He initially made it clear that going under the knife was entirely his choice and that he was healing very well, and then explained that the reason he hadn't had any external pressure either and had simply wanted to refine his appearance so it aligned more with his personal aesthetic. Fans of the group were taken aback by how casual the interaction had been and how willing he was to give up the information, and it actually led to a lot of support without any of the expected backlash. His honesty was so admired that one fan even wrote, "We need idols who are honest about their choices, not ones who pretend perfection is natural." Theo's straightforward approach not only normalizes something that is so often happening in the industry, but also seems to challenge the notion that such procedures are always a sign of insecurity, and his fans couldn't be more proud. How do you see the situation? Comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe for more. Solo singer Park Seo-jin also recently provided an eye-opening revelation about his journey with cosmetic surgery during an episode of MBC's Radio Star. In his candid interview, he shared that he had spent around 100 million Korean won, or around $75,000 US on many different procedures throughout his career. The high number already shocked the show's hosts, however. When Park Seo-jin brought out before and after pictures, it seemed like the entire set was at a loss for words. He looked almost unrecognizable as he revealed that he had undergone a nose job once and had his eyes surgically enhanced 3 times. Seo-jin explained that he was actually going for a more natural look, which is why he only went for 1mm adjustments. However, the host shock spoke of more than just a subtle change. Moreover, the most expensive part of his procedures was actually done on his teeth and on the many injections in his face. Beyond facial changes, he even admitted to having done a hair transplant, and it's clear viewers and staff were extremely impressed by everything he was willing to admit on camera. Not only was this one of the most truthful conversations about plastic surgery, but it was also clear that he had no insecurity in admitting any of it. When asked about what had motivated him to do so much work, Seo-jin decided to be completely honest yet again, as he made it clear that the most important thing for him was to look natural, which is why the procedures cost him so much. Despite the before and after being so shocking, there's no denying that his current look is impressively natural, which means every penny seemed to have been well spent. While there are many stories out there of people spending thousands on a ton of procedures and regretting it, it sounds like Seo-jin has absolutely no regrets, and his honesty is certainly inspirational for breaking the stigma in K-pop. As a veteran in the industry, Day6's Do-eun also shocked everyone when he suddenly decided to be honest honest about some work he had done while casually chatting with fans on Dear You Bubble. Doon seemed to reveal that he had done Botox injections to fix his chin sticking out too much, all to help his teeth grinding problem, something that not only could damage his teeth but also comes with a lot of headaches. The statement was dropped so casually that fans almost couldn't believe it. However, seeing as it's something that seemed to pain him, fans were more than happy to congratulate him on the procedure. However, while slimming down his jaw was almost out of necessity, Doon didn't stop there, as he seemed to be in a sharing mood and decided to give up one more piece of information, revealing that he received filler in his nose around the time of his debut. According to him, he had gone to the same clinic he had been to the first time around and was then informed by his doctors that the initial filler had long disappeared. It sounds like he didn't get any touch-ups either, as he stuck to fixing his jaw problems. However, fans were incredibly impressed and even amused by the fact that he decided to be so straightforward. Many fans even discussed how talking about cosmetic work, even something that was done as long ago as Doon's, shouldn't be seen as a sign of weakness or insecurity, as it's clear that he has no issues with his appearance anymore. Kwang Hee, a former member of Jaya, is one idol who seems to have had some struggles regarding his cosmetic surgeries, as he once revealed that he hadn't made it as an idol because of his looks. He candidly shared that despite spending 5 years as a trainee, he was only given 3 seconds in Jaya's debut song. According to him, it was a very frustrating experience, as he had to come to terms with the fact that he perhaps wasn't given the stage time he deserved because of his looks. He then revealed that his decision to dabble in cosmetic procedures was mainly out of desperation to achieve a better image and to turn his career around. Not only that, but he even got onto the topic of how taboo it is to discuss such issues, especially when it comes to his singing career, and how he hopes to help dispel the stigma, saying, "It's better to talk about it in a fun way than to hide it out of fear." In fact, it seems like humor is Kwang Hee's favorite way of dealing with it, as he often seems to be in situations where he makes a joke out of his surgeries. Even just this month, he seems to still have a fun time joking about it on variety shows with his friends, as he is clearly comfortable with admitting how ridiculous the stigma surrounding it is. In fact, Kwang Hee has helped other idols be much more open regarding their own procedures, as Lee Hyori herself came to discuss similar experiences with him in a candid YouTube video. She actually revealed that she once preferred a more natural look. However, as she got older and had to do more and more brand endorsements, public expectations ended up changing her opinion on cosmetic enhancement. Similarly to Kwang Hee, she's admitted to having work done to improve her career. However, it seems like it was mainly the pressure of getting older that ultimately got to how she was feeling regarding her own looks. In fact, it was mainly the high-profile photo shoots that made her feel like it was impolite of her to appear imperfect, and it was the reason she decided to proceed with Botox treatments to soften the wrinkles around her eyes in order to bring back more of her youthful image. However, while she spoke of the good it did her, she also chose to be critical of such procedures, as she also admitted some of the difficulties that came with Botox procedures, such as having a hard time getting her eyes to smile. Botox isn't the only thing she's dabbled in either, as she also admitted to trying out some laser lifting procedures while in Jeju. However, her skin didn't seem to have the best response to it, as it was pretty thin and she didn't get a visible result. Despite these challenges, it seems like Hyori is fighting a strong battle of highlighting how difficult it can be to age in an industry where natural and youthful looks are the most sought after. However, her bravery is being applauded by many netizens, as it certainly isn't easy to admit one's insecurities, and hopefully this can lead to even more honesty and perhaps open a discussion on the pressure aging women face. Tara's Guhara also made headlines once when she candidly admitted to undergoing minor cosmetic procedures on a variety show. Being honest was incredibly important to her, which is why, when the MC praised her for her natural beauty, she clarified that she had on occasion resorted to small interventions like laser treatments and Botox to keep her appearance fresh for the camera. She revealed that right before Kara's comeback with Cupid, she had even received some injections and done lifting procedures at a dermatologist's office. However, despite these subtle enhancements, Hara also emphasized that her overall fitness and physique were maintained through regular exercise, as it was incredibly important for her to stay healthy by practicing Pilates and even horseback riding. Her honesty was ultimately appreciated by everyone present, as the cast and guests were impressed by how honest she had been regarding the topic when idols are so pressured to naturally meet beauty standards. While plastic surgery can be used as a means to an end, it's not always purely a cosmetic procedure, as some simply have no choice. Just like Doon trying to fix his grinding teeth, BTS's RM underwent surgery in 2018 to fix some breathing difficulties caused by a deviated septum. Right after the procedure happened, Big Hit Entertainment confirmed that he had been discharged from the hospital and was focusing on recovery, as the procedure was treated extremely casually by the staff and RM himself. RM even later took to Twitter to reassure fans, sharing that his surgery had been successful and that he was getting back to work on the music while resting, and asking fans fans not to worry about him. In the end, fans responded with relief and gratitude, expressing their appreciation for his openness about his medical journey, as it certainly wasn't something he necessarily had to disclose. The truth really hits different when you see the transformation side by side. Once an idol doesn't fit the South Korea's beauty standards, most netizens don't hold back and leave mean comments, and idols are just like any of us, they're still human, and once they notice these comments, they also get hurt. One idol who got really affected with the hate she's been receiving is former Sistar member Soyu. She revealed that the hate comments took a toll on her, which made her decide to undergo plastic surgery. She had her nose done, and that was the only time she was able to overcome the criticism. A year after her surgery, she attended a press conference and netizens started praising her appearance. Some even wanted to know where she got her plastic surgery done due to how natural her new look is. It's unfortunate how people only started to recognize her beauty after surgery, but at least the hate comments stopped and Soyu got more confident. Another former Sistar member who has undergone surgery is Hyolyn. She had her eyes done by getting double lids. Her new eyes suited her and matched Hyolyn's intense and fierce look. Just like Soyu, she also admitted to getting her eyes done. However, she became a victim of a show's evil editing, making her look as if she denied getting surgery. In 2012, Hyolyn went to MBC's Radio Star and shared that she considered getting plastic surgery before her debut. She stated, "I went to 3 different hospitals for plastic surgery consultation before my debut. In the end, I couldn't get the work done." After the show aired, Hyolyn received a lot of criticism since netizens were accusing her of lying when it was evident she had already done something to her face. The following year, she got the chance to visit Radio Star again. That time, she finally set things straight and expressed her frustration on why the show edited all of the scenes where she truthfully talked about her eyelid surgery. Aside from getting double eyelids, it looks like she also had some work done on her lips. Hyolyn never mentioned getting it done, but based on her recent photos, she now has much fuller lips. During the early times of K-pop, getting surgery was quite a sensitive topic, but now a lot of idols are open in sharing the procedures they've done. Former Mamaland member Ju-E is one of the idols who proudly admitted her surgery and even got into details. During her appearance in the show Knowing Brothers, Ju-E revealed she had her nose done, but what's more interesting is that she also shared a bit of the process. She first shared that during her younger days, she always loved how her ears looked, but since she wanted to do a nose job, she had to give up cartilage from her ear in order to proceed with the surgery. Netizens praised her for being honest and even loved the outcome of her appearance. She has actually done the surgery before debuting as an idol, and she probably had thought really hard about it in preparation for her debut. When it comes to being openly proud about the surgeries they've done, of course we can't leave out Jessie. She's one of the artists who boosts confidence and has always been vocal about it. During an interview back in 2015, Jessie admitted she had rhinoplasty, double eyelid surgery, and injected lip fillers. However, that choice was made by her previous agency. They urged her to undergo those procedures so she would come out more photogenic. After receiving surgery, she actually didn't like it. Instead, she felt like a monster. It even broke her heart, so she told the surgeon to get rid of the stitches. Years have passed, and since Jessie regretted most of the surgeries, she decided to remove her lip fillers. Now that her fillers are no longer there, she feels more satisfied with how she looks. Despite explaining her side countless times, netizens are still wondering why her lips still looked so plump. So Jessie once again revealed that this time she only uses makeup by overdrawing on her lips to make it look bigger. She's always been open about the procedures, so there's no point why she should start lying when it comes to her surgeries. If Jessie wanted to get rid of her lip fillers, Hyuna, on the other hand, seems to be enjoying it as of the moment. She seemed to be born with thin lips, as seen in her high school photo. When she made her debut with Wonder Girls, she still had thin lips, and this lasted even up to her solo projects like her bubble pop era. A major change was then noticed around 2019 when she appeared at the airport with pouty and fuller lips, where she also coated it with a red lipstick, so it was surely hard to not notice it. Rumors then started to circulate that Hyuna definitely started getting some lip fillers. However, she denied those rumors and explained that she only exaggerated outlines on her lips to make it look bigger. At the same time, she also uploaded a selfie without makeup to prove her lips were natural. However, even when she removed her lipstick, the change is definitely noticeable compared to her old photos. In a more recent photo, she was spotted in an airport and a fan secretly took a photo of her. Since it was a candid shot, there's no denying her lips looked very plumped, and looking back at her pre-debut photos, Hyuna really looks different. Another idol who was suggested to undergo surgery is Super Junior's Kyu-hyun. He revealed his agency wanted him to get double eyelid surgery for him to have a softer image, to which he also agreed. He may have admitted getting his eyes done, but looking at his high school photo, we can clearly tell he's done more than his eyes. One really noticeable thing is his nose. He used to have a thicker nose bridge and a rounder nose shape. These days, he has a thinner nose bridge and a more triangular-shaped nose. Aside from getting surgery to enhance one's features, some idols also have no choice but to get some work done on their face due to health reasons. BTS's Namjoon has a condition called deviated septum, where the bone and cartilage that divide the nose are crooked, which might cause breathing problems. The surgery one for this condition is septoplasty. It's a simple process where the surgeon only has to make a small incision and remove any excess bone or cartilage to make breathing easier. Usually, people who had to undergo septoplasty combine it with a nose job to improve the nose's appearance. Based on Namjoon's recent photos, it's alleged that he also did a nose job since his nose now looks thinner and pointier. The same goes for 17's Joshua. He debuted at the age of 19 but had already done the surgery at the age of 17. Compared to his high school photo where he had a much flatter nose bridge, Joshua appeared to have a thinner nose bridge when he made his debut. His new nose during debut could probably be the result of his septoplasty surgery. However, years later, his nose seemed to have changed a lot more. During their home run era in 2020, his nose got pointier and the nose bridge got slimmer as well. A year later, few changes were spotted again since his nose got more defined and sharper. Aside from getting his nose fixed, he also had his teeth fixed, which saddened a lot of his fans. Next, we have TXT members Taehyun and Yeonjun. For Taehyun, a plastic surgeon named Dr. Myung-jung Lee confirmed that Taehyun had work done on his nose at the age of 15, 2 years prior to his debut. He already had a long nose and a fine nose bridge, but enhanced it by making it thinner and pointier. Yeonjun also had his nose done, especially on the nose bridge and the nasal area. With or without any confirmation from him or a surgeon, people claim it's pretty clear and would be stupid to deny that he got his nose done. Aside from his nose, another part of his face seemed to change as well. Recently, netizens noticed his chin started to look V-shaped compared to his previous photos, in which his chin appeared to be rounder and had softer edges. Some were claiming he had gotten a chin implant to make his chin look like that, and at the same time, it also made his jawline more visible and defined. Each member of aespa shows a unique beauty that captures everyone's attention. However, as their old photos started to resurface, people began to question how far they've gone in enhancing their faces. First, let's check on Karina. She's been dubbed as 4th gen's visual goddess due to her face having unreal visuals, but many question how real her visuals are. Based on her pre-debut photos, Karina might have done the following procedures to her face: double eyelids, a nose job, and shaved her jawbone. So people wonder if it could be that she ended up having a goddess visual that perfectly looked like an AI just because her face was perfectly curated. Surgeon named Dr. Kim Jun-ho also made a comment regarding Karina's face, stating that her face looked unrealistic. He explained, "The shape and ratio of Karina's face feel unrealistic. The average person has a long eye width of 26 millimeters, but if this length is similar to the length of the nose, it becomes like a face in a cartoon, but Karina's eyes and nose are the same length, something that seems too good to be true." Next, we have Winter. She also allegedly had surgeries similar to Karina. Looking at her old photos, she used to have a bigger nose that had a large tip, and she also had drooping eyelids. Now, compared to her recent looks, she might have had done double eyelids, a nose job, and narrowed her jaw as well. When it comes to her bandmate Giselle, it's the member who's said to have done the most surgeries out of all the girls in aespa. She used to have a square-shaped face, and now she seems to have reduced her jawline to look smaller and at the same time removed her cheek fat to enhance the shape of her face. Just like Karina and Winter, Giselle also allegedly had a nose job and fixed her eyelids. The most natural member of the group is said to be Ningning. She still has supposedly work done on her face, but not to the extent where she completely looks different. Ningning allegedly got a nose job and jaw reduction. Her nose already looked great before, but she made it thinner and adjusted her nose bridge to complement her features. Whatever the case is, it seems like plastic surgery is continuing to be one of the biggest trends within the K-pop industry. But sometimes chasing perfection goes way too far. Some idols took the plastic surgery trend to a whole nother level and they became unrecognizable. Jaeha's Kwang-hee has been very honest about his plastic surgeries. He had started his journey of changing his appearance even before training as an idol, as he was very insecure about his appearance. Due to the strict beauty standards, he was aware that he would never be able to debut, let alone get accepted into an entertainment agency, if he didn't change how he looked. During an episode of KBS's popular show 1 vs 100, Kwang-hee openly discussed his plastic surgery. When the host asked about the extent of his procedures, Kwang-hee casually mentioned that he had fixed absolutely everything on his face, which is pretty obvious if you look at his pre-surgery pictures. He even joked that he had to recover for a whole year after getting those surgeries. Him revealing all this was unexpected, since at the time that he was active, plastic surgery was a sensitive topic in Korea. Even though it was common knowledge that idols had procedures to enhance their looks, hardly anyone openly admitted it. Kwang-hee not only talked publicly about it, but he he also kind of made it his brand. Years later, he explained that he felt uncomfortable hiding his plastic surgery, so he decided to be open about it, admitting that he revealed it out of desperation. He said, "My thought process was that if I made an amusing story out of it and it works out, that would gradually open up more opportunities for us. The confession was my desperate measure for our team. I was always desperate." It seemed like everything worked in his favor because it kickstarted his career in variety shows and even managed to get the group some attention with the general public. There weren't always positive comments about him, but that's something to be expected. However, what surgeries did Kwang Hee do exactly to look so different? He admitted that he had surgeries on his nose, eyes, chin, and even forehead. He also got dental veneers, and according to his revelations, the only place he didn't get surgery on is his cheekbones. Kwang Hee doesn't regret any of it. In fact, he has said that he would get more surgeries if it wasn't for his schedules, jokingly stating, "I think about this a lot. I wonder if my agency purposefully packs in my schedule so that I don't have time to get more plastic surgery." No matter what everyone thought of his surgeries, Kwang Hee is now one of the most popular variety stars, so who ended up winning in the end? Similarly, Jessie has never shied away from admitting that she had plastic surgery several times. Even before she became the star she is today, netizens assumed that she had a lot of work done on her face just because she looks like it. In 2015, Jessie admitted that she had various cosmetic procedures. First, she got double eyelid surgery and also had work done on her nose and lips. She had also mentioned that she had too many lip fillers 5 years ago and has been trying to reduce them, but she still draws her lips much bigger, which is why people believe she got fillers recently. Jessie first started going under the knife after coming to South Korea from New Jersey, as she revealed she thought that she wasn't photogenic before, so her management company told her that she should fix her nose and eyes. But that didn't come without downsides, as she hated the way she looked afterwards. In an episode of Radio Star, she shared, "After the surgery, my face broke my heart. I instantly asked the surgeon to get rid of the stitches. After about a year, the swelling naturally settled down." She admitted to regretting some of her past choices, but now feels happy with how she looks. As for the accusations that she looks a lot more different than she used to, Jessie had a very simple explanation: aging. Her current appearance is also shaped by past plastic surgeries. Additionally, she got work done on her chest, and even though she agreed that being natural is so much better, she wouldn't get rid of her implants. Overall, Jessie shared that she tried various looks over the years, but now prefers her natural appearance, remarking that no one, including herself, is perfect. Even though former Mamaland member Jui had always been pretty, it can't be denied that she looks a lot different than she used to at the time of her debut. She did admit that she got a nose job before debut, specifically when she was a freshman in high school. Jui initially kept her cosmetic surgery secret from her agency because she wasn't sure she would make it through the audition. After passing, she had to reveal her surgeries when the agency recommended a nose job, unaware that she had already had one. Even without considering the nose job, it's obvious that her look has evolved significantly since the early days in her career. Changes in her appearance could be due to weight loss, makeup, or aging, but many people online speculate that plastic surgery might be behind the transformation. According to netizens, it's obvious that she got fillers on her lips, nose, and brow line, but since her appearance change is very drastic, they haven't fully written off the idea that she also got a ton of surgery on top of that. Ju-E hasn't confirmed any of these rumors, but it's ironic that she was once labeled as the ugliest female K-pop idol due to harsh criticism of her looks. Now that her appearance aligns with what people expect, she's being called a plastic surgery monster, which is simply awful. Even though idols get criticized for their surgeries all the time, most of them haven't gotten even half the criticism that A-Pink's Namjoon has. Namjoon faced accusations of going under the knife as far back as 2015, when netizens dug up some of her childhood pictures. From the comments, it seemed like they were of the opinion that she got her nose and eyes done, but a lot of people chalked up her changes in appearance to puberty. However, 3 years later, she got attention in the media due to a supposed botched nose surgery. During a certain event in 2018, Namjoon soared to the top of real-time search engines and stayed in the top 5 for a significant period, all because of her alleged nose job. Maybe it was just the nose that got changed, but netizens went on to claim that her entire face looked different and that she didn't resemble her old self at all. The issue got so big that her agency, IST Entertainment, were contacted by the media, who were demanding an answer to the question whether she really had plastic surgery or not. When they chose not to comment, netizens piled on even more, criticizing Namjoon harshly and claiming that although she didn't look great before, she looked even worse now. Thankfully, she never acknowledged the hate comments, nor did she ever respond to them, and A-Pink continued their activities as usual. People now speculate that her face looks better because her surgery has settled, or she had another procedure to correct her previous nose job, but either way, she looks amazing. Park Bom is one of the idols that comes up the most when plastic surgery gets mentioned, as she has faced a lot of criticism for her noticeable changes. Many have accused her of excessive plastic surgery, fillers, and using too many photo filters, accusations which started in 2009. Netizens initially speculated that she had work done on her eyelids, nose, and lips. These rumors didn't fade. Each year, people continued to guess what procedure she might have had next, pointing to her chin, jaw, or cheeks. In 2014, Bom said that her change in appearance was due to her weight gain that was caused by her medication for lymphadenitis, but denied having surgery. Nevertheless, the speculations never stopped, especially during the 2015 Mnet Asian Awards, the 56th Grand Bell Awards in 2020, and August of last year, when she posted some selfies on Instagram which shocked the public. Her bold eyeliner and lips sparked rumors of heavy filter use, possibly with the Snow app. Some people said they barely recognized her, unsure if makeup or filters were responsible for her different look, or maybe even excessive plastic surgery. A commenter wrote, "At this point, the doctors should just reject her requests or ban her from getting plastic surgery." Yang Hyun-suk, the former CEO of YG Entertainment, frequently insulted her and her bandmates, calling them ugly on numerous occasions. Additionally, she was harshly criticized by the public for taking medication, and both YG Entertainment and Yang Hyun-suk threw her under the bus and practically blamed her for the group's disbandment. It's obvious that this took a mental toll on her, and whether she wanted to get plastic surgeries to deal with everything, we can't blame her for it. People often call Chung-ha the new generation Park Bom because they believe she's frequently altered her appearance through plastic surgery. Some argue that she looks different from her Produce 101 days, noting significant changes in her appearance, especially her cheeks, chin, lips, eyes, and even jaw. Back in 2017, Chung-ha explained that she might look different because she had lost weight, received posture correction, changed her hair, and started doing makeup differently, but netizens weren't convinced. They speculated that Chung-ha had several cosmetic procedures, starting with her chin, which looked longer and sharper, creating an imbalanced side profile. They also suspected she got fillers on her lips and forehead, as her forehead now appeared more forward and rounded. Her nose seemed pointier and smoother, and there were rumors of cheekbone reduction, jaw Botox, under-eye fillers, and eyelid surgery. To some online users, Chung-ha looks basically unrecognizable now, which to them is a shame since she used to be one of the prettiest idols in the industry. After School member Lizzie was the one who actually brought the topic of plastic surgery back to the table. Lizzie has never hidden the fact that she went under the knife and has been quite open about her procedures. In 2016, she shared that she had gotten her double eyelids pinched up because they had loosened up a little. Then in 2018, she was asked whether she felt envious of how her Follow Me 9 castmates looked, to which she answered, "I got a whole package of cosmetic surgery done, so there's nothing I'm envious of. I like my face." She also said that it had been a while since she had gotten surgery, despite the fact that the public kept insisting that she had done work on her face continuously. Lizzie added that her procedures had all been set in place, and if she looked different, it was because her makeup artist had changed. In 2022, the speculations resurfaced when she posted new pictures after signing a contract with BK Entertainment. This was around the time when she was dealing with a DUI controversy, so people were mad that she was supposedly getting surgery instead of reflecting on what she did. Most recently, she shared a birthday selfie on Instagram with the caption, "Birthday together with my family," but people couldn't really focus on anything but her face, which looked quite different. Netizens speculated that she might have gotten more plastic surgery, pointing to the fact that her eyes seemed larger, her jawline sharper, and even the corners of her mouth looked off. However, Lizzie clarified that she actually didn't get any surgery, at least not recently. On an August 4th live stream, she said, "It's an app. I didn't shave my jaw. People are saying I did something to my face, but that's not true. There's no need to worry." People are puzzled about why she liked the filter, but they're relieved she didn't spend any money to look like that. Wendy from Red Velvet often comes up in conversations about dramatic changes in appearance. Whether it's her weight or speculation about plastic surgery, many have noticed a significant shift in her look. Even though the speculations of plastic surgery ran wild, her change in appearance may mostly be due to a serious accident she had in December 2019. Unfortunately, she fell during the SBS Gayo Daejeon show, resulting in a broken pelvis, wrist, cracked cheekbone, and numerous bruises. Considering this and the weight loss from the lack of eating because of the injury, it's expected that she looks different now. Online discussion suggests that besides having surgery for her injuries, she might have also had additional work done on her face. People mostly blame this on SM Entertainment, thinking that they may make their female idols get surgery to look similar to each other. A commenter said, "It's interesting how SM girl group members looked unique and different when they debuted, but later on they all start looking similar. Winter, Taeyeon, Bohwa, Wendy all look alike." Others assume that this change might be because she's using a different style of makeup, but either way, netizens will never be satisfied. Wendy used to be criticized for her weight and looks, but even after she lost weight and underwent major facial reconstruction following her accident, people are still unhappy with her. And sadly, some stories end in complete tragedy. Hang Myoku was chasing beauty, but instead she fell into a disaster no one saw coming. She knew the dangers, yet she kept going. How her appearance transformed left the world horrified. But Hang Myoku's story did not begin with tragedy. Born in South Korea on July 8, 1963, the details of Hang's early years remain largely hidden. But one thing was undeniable. Even as a young girl, Hang was already chasing something bigger than herself: the glittering promises of fashion and fame. By the 1980s, Hang was starting to turn heads. She graced ads, posed for campaigns, and every once in a while, her voice would float through a microphone and captivate a room. A voice described as soft, beautiful, almost haunting. It seemed like everything was falling into place. But what nobody realized was that beneath the surface, a dangerous obsession was quietly beginning to take root, setting the stage for one of the most heartbreaking transformations the world would ever witness. In a culture where physical perfection was highly valued, it's not surprising that Hang began to feel the pressure to stay flawless. The booming popularity of cosmetic surgery in South Korea wasn't just a trend, it was a way of life. And for someone like Hang, whose livelihood depended on her looks, it became something she couldn't ignore. By her mid-20s, Hang, already considered stunning by most people's standards, started thinking seriously about enhancing her appearance. At 28, Hang underwent her first cosmetic procedure. The details of that surgery are still unclear, but one thing is certain: it did not satisfy her. Instead of feeling content, Hang found herself wanting more. It was like opening a door she couldn't close. Every procedure she had made her crave another. Her quest for beauty was no longer just a goal. It became a growing obsession that took on a life of its own. Not long after that first surgery, Hang made a bold move. She packed up and left South Korea, heading to Japan. There, cosmetic surgery was even more accessible, and she could chase her new addiction without the judgment of familiar faces. It seemed like the perfect escape. But instead of finding happiness, she found herself sinking deeper. In Japan, the surgeries became more frequent, and Hang's obsession only grew. She later admitted that she became fixated on having soft, smooth skin and a forever young face. But the more procedures she had, the more she felt she needed. If you want to know more stories like Hang Myoku's, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. And then the changes started to show. But not in the way she had hoped. Instead of looking younger or more beautiful, Hang's face began to swell. Yet somehow, when she looked in the mirror, she didn't see the damage. She saw someone who still needed just one more procedure to finally be perfect. Friends and family noticed the alarming changes. Her face didn't just look different, it looked unnatural, almost disfigured. People who had known her for years could hardly recognize her, but Hang stayed trapped in her own illusion, convinced she was getting closer to the look she wanted. Even surgeons, the very people who had profited from her obsession, started to push back. Doctors in Japan refused to operate on her, warning that more surgeries would only make things worse. Some believed she was suffering from a psychological disorder, possibly body dysmorphic disorder, where a person becomes obsessed with flaws that only they can see. The warnings were serious. Doctors saw that she was struggling and urged her to consider a different approach. They suggested that instead of more surgeries, she may be able to benefit from psychiatric help. But Hang's addiction was too strong, and at this point, it had complete control over her, so she didn't want to comply. The consequences of her choices became painfully clear when Hang returned to South Korea in her mid-40s. She walked through the door of her childhood home, expecting a welcome, but what she got instead was horror. Her parents didn't even recognize her. You can only imagine their heartbreak at seeing their own daughter, but her face so swollen and changed that she looked like a stranger. When they realized it was Hang standing there, their shock quickly turned into desperation. They knew she needed help. They took her to different doctors, hoping to find some way to save her. Again, professionals suggested psychiatric treatment. They told her that her obsession with surgery wasn't just hurting her body, it was breaking her mind. For a while, it seemed like there might be hope. Hang agreed to start therapy, and for the first time, it looked like she might finally be ready to face her addiction. But there was another problem. Therapy was expensive, and Hang couldn't afford to continue it for long. Still caught deep in the grip of her addiction, and with no doctor willing to operate on her anymore, she was left desperate and alone. Every reputable surgeon had already said no, warning that any more work would only make things worse. But Hang decided she would not stop. If the doctors refused to help, she would find another way. And she did, but not the way anyone could have imagined. Somehow, she got her hands on black market cosmetic substances. And even worse, she met someone described loosely as a doctor in some reports who was willing to help her bypass all medical standards. This person gave her a bottle of liquid silicone and a syringe and actually instructed her on how to inject it herself at home. Armed with nothing but blind hope and a bottle of industrial-grade silicone, Hang started injecting the liquid into her own face. She focused on her cheeks and other areas she thought needed smoothing out. But without proper technique or any medical oversight, disaster quickly followed. The silicone clumped under her skin, spreading in uneven ways, and her face began to swell even more dramatically. You would think something like that would be enough to make her stop, but it wasn't. In her mind, she still believed she was fixing herself. Even when she finished the whole bottle, Hang wasn't ready to quit. Instead, she found herself facing a new problem. She had run out of silicone, her money was almost gone, and yet the craving for more improvement was just as strong. What Hang did next was even more horrifying. With no silicone left and no money to get more, she searched for a cheap alternative. And then she made a decision that would seal her fate. She grabbed vegetable cooking oil from her kitchen, filled a syringe, and injected the oil into her own face. The results were immediate and devastating. The cooking oil, completely unsafe for injection, triggered massive inflammation. Her face swelled up to a monstrous size, growing more misshapen and painful with every passing day. The smooth skin she had once dreamed of was now buried under lumpy, hardened masses of silicone and oil. Her face stretched so much that even Hang could barely recognize herself in the mirror. But the nightmare didn't stop there. Local kids in her neighborhood started teasing her. They gave her a cruel nickname, the Standing Fan, because her tiny body now looked even smaller compared to her oversized, swollen head. Hang, who had once been admired for her beauty, had become an object of fear and pity. It wasn't long before her story caught public attention. In 2008, Hang Myoku appeared on Korean television, sharing her heartbreaking journey with the world. Sitting there in front of cameras, she revealed the full extent of the damage she had done to herself. Viewers watched in shock, unable to look away from the tragic sight. Hang spoke about her addiction, her regrets, and her wish to somehow undo the harm. The response was overwhelming. People all over South Korea and even beyond felt a wave of sympathy. Her honesty moved many, and soon donations started pouring in. Strangers who had never met Hang sent money, hoping to help her get the treatment she desperately needed. With these donations, Hang finally had a new chance. Skilled surgeons, now focused not on beauty but on saving her life, agreed to help. In 2008, Hang underwent the first of many major surgeries. The goal was simple but extremely difficult: to remove the foreign substances from her face and neck. In that first operation, doctors carefully removed about 60 grams of hardened silicone, cooking oil, and other substances from her face, and another 200 grams from her neck. In total, over 260 grams of foreign material were taken out of her body. But the surgeries were complicated. Silicone, once injected into the tissue, doesn't just sit neatly in one spot. It weaves itself into the flesh, making it impossible to remove completely. Doctors did the best they could, pulling out as much as they safely could without causing even more damage. After the initial surgery, there was a visible difference. Her face was no longer as bloated as before, and some of the painful tightness eased. But the journey was far from over. Hang needed about 10 surgeries in total to remove as much of the injected material as possible. Each surgery helped a little. Bit by bit, her face became smaller, the swelling reduced, and the pain lessened. But there was no way to bring her face back to what it had been. The damage was simply too great. Even after so many procedures, her skin was badly scarred, her features irregular and uneven. The sad truth became clear. Hang could never regain her former beauty. No matter how many surgeries she had, the consequences of years of obsession, surgeries, and DIY injections could not be fully erased. After the surgeries, Hang's life took a completely different turn. Her days in the entertainment industry were over, modeling and singing were no longer options for her. Instead, she found work at a recycled clothing store in Korea called The Beautiful Shop. It was a far cry from the glamorous life she had once dreamed of. Now in her early 60s, Hang Myoku keeps a low profile. She is not active on social media, she rarely gives interviews, and she stays far away from the spotlight. Her story remains a powerful reminder of what can happen when obsession takes over, and a heartbreaking example of how chasing perfection can sometimes lead to losing everything that truly matters.